Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Campus Gridiron, Season 2, Number 7. Grant and Lennon back with you again for Week 6 previews, Week 5 recaps. We're not going to lie to you. We're looking at this week's schedule, and we think this is one of the weakest schedules we have this year. But we will obviously give our predictions for the top games later in the week, along with, of course, recapping some of the crazy games we had last weekend.
Yeah, that was a very interesting week. I'm excited to talk about Alabama, Georgia, because that game was a whirlwind of emotions, and I wasn't even rooting for either team. So
Alabama, Georgia was great. Ole Miss, down goes Ole Miss. Kentucky with the upset on the road against the Rebels. We had some controversy that we are going to dive into right now with the Miami Hurricanes. They escape. I can't believe Virginia Tech took them to the brink. Last second Hail Mary. It was originally marked as an interception. Then it was a touchdown. Referees review it. Incomplete. Ball game over. Hurricanes win 38-34. But this game shows that Miami is very beatable, Lennon. Very beatable.
yeah, though they are, and I mean they're obviously in Virginia Tech's that team. They always have good players. They never can put anything together, and sometimes they get games like this where they take the number whatever Miami 5 or 7 team, and they compete with them. But yeah, Miami can be beat. I think this was a punch in the face for the Hurricanes, and maybe it like wake them like, oh, maybe we're not as strong as we thought people thought we were. So maybe that was like a gut check for the Hurricanes. We'll have to see this week, but it was a catch. I'm sorry, but that's neither here nor there. We can go back and forth, but that was a catch. But maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was a catch, but I'm also biased and I hate the Hurricanes. So remember, it's Gator Orange, not Hurricane Orange. It's out there, but
well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. At first, I thought it was incomplete to begin with. And I mean, I suppose you could make the argument that the Virginia Tech player never lost possession of the ball, but to me it looked like the ball was always moving. And that's where the refs are gonna question and say, well, he never had full possession when his body hit the ground. Not saying it's the right call, not saying it's the wrong call. I'm just saying, based off of what we could see on the replay, it makes sense why they called it incomplete. But again, if you call it a touchdown and you don't have enough evidence to overturn it, ruling on the field's supposed to stay.
And that's
where it gets a little dicey.
Oh, I think that's where Virginia Tech fans, most every Miami hater stands, is like they call it a touchdown on the field, and I don't know about you, but it shouldn't take 15 minutes to review. Like, I don't maybe
it did. They were in a good 5-6 minute review period. It was crazy.
It's tough, and we love a good controversial ending because it gets all of Twitter and Facebook and Instagram all stirred up because it's 50-50 either way. But I don't know. Neither here nor there. It happened. Miami won. I forgot who they have this week, but they're going to win probably. It's going to be interesting to see how California. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
We'll get
one of the games we will be previewing this week. Just say that.
It's going to be a very interesting game, and the fact that Miami traveled 3,500 miles and wasn't even halfway to California for a conference game says a lot about the conference.
We hate it. Get Cal and Stanford out of the ACC, please and thank you.
I'm okay with SMU just because
SMU
Texas isn't that far off, but it's nowhere near anyway. I think, but whatever had happened, Virginia Tech lost, Miami won. Can't go back and change it, even though I wish I could. But that was still a great game. That was a really great game from the start. Virginia Tech opening drive, Miami fumbled the ball, and Virginia Tech goes up 7. I said, "Ooh, we got a game," and it was a great game. I fell asleep and then woke up to Virginia Tech when the game was over, and then they went back and said it was.
That's crazy. I watched the entire first half, and I saw about the last 5 to 6 minutes. That was way longer than I thought I would have watched this game for. And
Yeah,
I
me
mean,
too.
that's what happens when it's a good game, though. The only issue was the full game in length, 4 hours. That's
Yeah.
And then by that point, when the review was going on 3 minutes, then 4 minutes, we're just like, all right, we've been watching this for 4 hours. Like, can we just make a call, please?
Yeah.
But overall, very good game. I think this is the wake up call for the Hurricanes. They came close, and they're playing an even better team this week on the road. So we shall see what happens in Cal this weekend. Predictions coming on later. Moving on to Saturday's batch of games. I was at a baseball game, so I didn't really make a lot of game alerts on the Instagram. The only game alert I probably would have posted that I missed was just Notre Dame beating Louisville. But I mean, we could talk about that if you want, but I didn't really think that was anything crazy. It just felt like Notre Dame was dominating the whole game. Louisville tried to make it close at the end, but couldn't get it done. So we had to post this, though, because this is one of the biggest upsets. And it's interesting because we talked about last week during the preview of this game. Kentucky is that team that's going to give you a fight. I mean, we're talking about a team that only lost to 1 point by Georgia. So they have a great defense. They had a relatively decent offense, but you never know what you're going to get out of them. Each week, they're a different team. And this week, they were probably the most dominant, defeating Ole Miss 20-17. And that's a huge drop for the Rebels because they came into this game ranked number 6. Now I think they're ranked number 12th, if I'm not mistaken. So they took a hit in the power rankings.
Yeah, they did. I told you guys not to sleep on the Wildcats. I did pick Ole Miss, but I said Kentucky would give them a fight. But yeah, I don't know. Old Kiffin just got out coached by Mark Stoops, man. I don't know. I didn't. Well, I watched some of that game. I wasn't like fully invested. I wasn't invested until I saw Kentucky take the lead late. I said, I gotta watch this. And then Ole Miss went down the field and missed the field goal to send the game to overtime. But Kentucky, I said it last week. I said Kentucky, they beat Southern Miss. They get punched in the face by Kentucky or by South Carolina, and then they almost beat Georgia, and then they turn around and beat Ole Miss on the road. That's huge for the Wildcats. I don't really want to play them right now. They seem to be one of the better defenses in the SEC behind Alabama. So we'll see. It's gonna be interesting. But I told you to keep an eye on the Wildcats. I told you not to sleep on the Cats, and the Cats got the Rebels. So very interesting.
I was sleeping on Kentucky because I'm thinking like it'll be a close game, maybe a one possession game, but there's no way. Well, there was a way.
Any given Saturday, my friend. Any given Saturday.
That was crazy. And shout out to junior quarterback Brock Vandergriff. I was kind of bashing him when they lost to Georgia. He never really moved the ball that efficiently. 243 and a touchdown on Saturday. So he too is, I think, kind of climbing up in the SEC quarterback rankings. Maybe starting to peek into the top like 7 or so.
Yeah. I would also like to add about this game. See, Mark Stoops was under criticism for his lack of play calling against the Bulldogs, like late in the game. He learned his lesson because Kentucky's play calling late in this game was absolutely amazing. He did a really good job. So I don't like giving, I hate Mark Stoops. I don't like to give him credit, but he has turned Kentucky's football program around. And I will give him props for going on the road and beating the future head coach of the Florida Gators. Anyway, but we'll get into that in the off season. But Mark Stoops did a really good job coaching this game, and it clearly showed Kiffin and Ole Miss was underestimating the Wildcats, and they showed why nobody can be slept on this year. So that's all I wanted to say on that one.
That's good to say that you can't really sleep on any opponent. I mean, we talk about you can't overlook your opponents, but Kentucky especially, because again, they're weird. They'll get blown out. They'll lose a one possession game to a top ranked team, and then they'll beat another top ranked team. So I guess it all kind of evens out in the end. But now we are on to what was, I mean, we were hyping up Texas, Michigan. We were hyping up a few, quality games, as we should as a podcast who are excited to watch these games, but we knew this was going to be the game of the year, and by God was it. In an instant classic, number 4 Alabama at home defeating number 2 Georgia 41-34. This was the Jalen Milroe breakout game. If you had any questions about his performance moving forward, didn't matter. He threw for 374, 2 touchdowns, and also led Alabama in rushing and also got a rushing touchdown. When he threw that touchdown late in the fourth quarter, it was the dagger. I mean, oh my God, what a crazy game this was. From what was it, 31-3?
30-7.
30-7 to this was just out of this world.
I watched the first half of the game and said, "Oh my God, Georgia is the biggest frauds on the face of the planet." I went to my room. I had the game on in the background, but I wasn't paying attention. I look up and it's 30-15. I said, "Oh, okay." And then Georgia got a stop. I said, "Oh, okay." And then I went back to the living room and finished out watching the game. Georgia led all but 15 seconds that whole night. Carson Beck, bam, touchdown, Georgia. Jalen Miller, Ryan Williams, amazing. Okay,
He was born in 2007, by the way.
Yeah, 11th grade people.
Makes us feel old.
Yeah. No, 04 gang, babe. But yeah, that kid is just speechless. This kid is amazing. Miro played good. Props for Miro for actually breaking out. I mean, I can't stand Alabama, but I've always kind of defended Jalen Miro. He's obviously a run first kind of quarterback. Before I would rather him run the ball than throw the ball most times.
Yeah,
but this game he had some great, and not again that dagger 15 seconds after Georgia took. That was the greatest, not even 2 minutes I've ever watched of a college football game. Like, you get Georgia one play touchdown, missed the 2-point conversion. Bama next play 79, 80 something yards to Ron Williams for a touchdown is just insane.
We talk about Ryan Williams too. That touchdown went for 75 yards. Yes. He had 177 on the night. And this is about the second or third game we've kind of seen Williams kind of take over, especially in the second half of a game. We saw it against South Florida, and he's just been consistently putting up solid numbers. And I feel like this is also the breakout game for Ryan Williams. I mean, not only did he moss a Georgia defender, he hit a spin move while planting his feet and then outran the entire defense.
Wait, and how old is he again?
17.
This kid is just, I mean, if he wasn't in the Heisman race, you're going to have to put him in there in the talking. I mean, Milroe's going to be in it now.
I was going to say, I know Milroe's Heisman talks have just skyrocketed.
Listen, I as a child who grew up watching college football through the mid 2000s, seeing Alabama dominate was pure torture, and Nick Saban ruined my childhood. And it was beautiful to see them kind of like I wouldn't say down, but not like really taking over the national picture. Alabama's back. I mean, they are back. Again, all credits to Kalen DeBoer. I'll give him that one. First of all, it was 30-7. So either Kirby Smart is a genius and made great halftime adjustments, or Bama took the foot off the gas, or a little combination of both, you could say, at the second half of that game. But now it's going to be curious. Once Milroe leaves and all these Saban kids leave, it's going to be interesting to see if he can still recruit. I think he'll be fine, just because, who wouldn't want to go play for Alabama? I mean, they're Alabama. All they got to say is, look, here's our 18,000 national trophies that we have.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
If I was, I'd have Alabama on my radar. But for right now, I think Alabama deserves to be the number one team, and I think they are. I don't know if Texas is still number one or not, but Bama deserves.
I think Bama did jump to number one. with all due respect, Texas has been beating up some terrible teams the past
And they
couple of weeks.
struggled against Mississippi State
Yeah,
until
and
the
then
end of the game.
I think Quinn Ewers is coming back this week, so that'll be
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, good for Archie Manning, but no.
Not his time just
Alabama needs to be the one team, right? We kind of knew right out of the gate the winner of this game was going to be the one team, and props to Georgia for mounting that comeback. Because if they didn't come back, they're probably heading this week ranked as like 10th. But because they came back and made it a game, they only dropped from 2nd to 5th. They'll take that. They're
Yeah.
still ahead of undefeated teams like Miami, Oregon. They're fine. They're
Yeah.
fine. So, no one. God. My one takeaway from this is Kirby Smart is 1-6 against Alabama. At one point, intimidation has to be a factor and a reason kind of deal. So,
But to his credit, that one win is a national championship. So,
yep.
but yeah, and that's what I mean, we talked about in the last week, talking about this game, the history of this game. Bama won, I think they won, like, Kirby was 1-6 at the time, I guess. And and everybody was picking Alabama. All of game day picked Alabama. Pat McAfee didn't call the dogs this time. He said "Roll Tide, roll," which was still hilarious. I don't know if you saw him pick that game, but it was hilarious. And I can't speak for you, but my mindset going into this game was Georgia was pissed off about hearing about Alabama this and Alabama that. And I was expecting them to come out swinging. They didn't come out swinging. In fact, they looked dead. But again, props to them for getting their together in the second half and making this a hell of a ball game. Again, it's Bama. Bama's hard to beat. We know this. They've dominated. Georgia should be fine. They got Texas in 2 weeks, and Alabama has Tennessee in 2 weeks. And I cannot wait for week 8 because, oh my God,
we are gonna have some games to talk about that week.
Unfortunately for me, for what I want to happen is I want Bama to be 1 and Tennessee to be like 2 or 3. So I'm gonna need Tennessee to be.
Tennessee and Texas, are the only two teams that like jumped ahead of Georgia heading into this week.
I want to be.
Tennessee is one of them.
But like for I want Texas to be like 2, Georgia 4, and Bama 1 and Tennessee 3, or something like that, to where we have like 2 top 4 matchups going on with.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about this in a couple of weeks because we obviously want to go on to other stuff. But I mean, is Georgia like screwed if they lose that game to Texas? They could be. I mean,
very well.
Depends, I guess, how badly they would lose. But that game has now turned into a must-win for the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Moving on to week 6. Oh, guys, we have to talk about that. That's like the biggest elephant in the room right there was that game. That was probably the best college regular season game I've seen in at least 2 years. Like, at least.
Yeah. Oh
I think I said to Lennon right out of the gate, that was the best game since the kick 6 Auburn, Alabama. I don't know. Maybe I'm nuts for thinking that. I don't know. But
no, you weren't. You're not. It was a great game.
We're on to week 6 now. Like, it kind of started with the UNLV quarterback, and I figured we should kind of give you guys updates on transfer portals, all that stuff. Maybe if Lennon's more familiar with these players, we can maybe go in depth, but this is more so a quick 1 to 2 minute like recap of, hey, who's transferring into the transfer portal, blah, 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 and if we find out a reason why, there's a reason why. So first, Notre Dame losing 2 players. First was their cornerback, Jaden Mickey. He entered the transfer portal as a transfer grad. And they also lost defensive lineman Tyson Ford. He was a top 100 recruit in the 2022 class.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, bro. Don't really ring a bell, but good for them, I guess.
Other notable transfers this week, like I said, quick 1 to 2 minutes, just kind of throwing out there because it is news. Arkansas wide receiver Jaden Wilson, he's entering the transfer portal. And then we had news from earlier today. Indiana wide receiver Donovan McCulley, And North Carolina State edge rusher Red Hibbler. That's an interesting one. By the way, he did lead the Wolfpack with 6.5 sacks last season. And lastly, UCF wide receiver Xavier Townsend. He recorded 4 receptions and a touchdown last week in their loss to Colorado.
Yeah, I was gonna say 34 minutes ago he said he's gonna transfer out, and it's unclear if he'll play against Florida this weekend. So
Ooh, I feel like once you announce you're transferring, you shouldn't be eligible to play.
exactly,
So if
and
he does play against Florida and the rest of the year, that's not good.
yeah, so hopefully he's out for the sake of my boys, but.
On to injury update, and this is a fun one. Florida State quarterback DJU, he will be out, to my knowledge, anywhere between 3 to 5 weeks with a broken finger he suffered in their loss against SMU last weekend. So Brock Glenn will start this week's game against Clemson. If Brock Glenn's name sounds familiar, he was the starting quarterback for that dreadful Orange Bowl performance against Georgia last year. So this is realistic. So outside of his few drives last week, this is Glenn's first appearance since that bowl game where Georgia won 63-3. Clemson coming in this week ranked. They've been really good after the first couple of weeks of the season. They've really ramped it up. I know they beat NC State a couple weeks ago in pretty convincing fashion. Lennon, what does Brock Glenn bring to the table that DJU may not?
Oh, and see, like as bad as Florida has been, or I mean, being 2-2 with this schedule is honestly not that bad. But I'm glad I don't live in Tallahassee anyway. But this is hard for me because obviously we knew DJU was going to start, and obviously we've seen how bad he's been. This might be a hot take, and you can agree or disagree. I would say Brock Glenn has a little bit better accuracy than DJU does, just a little bit. DJU can throw the ball further, but it's inaccurate. Brock Glenn, I think, has a little bit better accuracy, and instead of losing by 90, they're going to lose by 80. So that doesn't really matter there. But this is, I mean, I don't really think he broke his finger. I think that's just Florida State saying, hey, we're going to bench you. Now, I don't know. He could have, and if he did, I'm sorry. I honest to God, do not know. I don't know why I didn't watch them get routed by SMU. I should have watched it, but
you were too busy enjoying an actually good game. Anyways.
Yeah, exactly. No, but again, maybe he did. I don't know. If he did break his finger, I don't think it's to the extent they said it is. I think this is Florida State's way of not, I don't know what the word is, but switching their quarterbacks out without switching their quarterbacks out, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Okay,
they're doing it in a nonchalant way so it doesn't look like a controversy.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, pretty much. No, I don't know. I could be wrong. And if he did,
I felt like he did though. I thought I read a report that like it actually like bent like backwards, but
he could have. I didn't watch the game. I haven't really seen anything about it. But who knows? I'm just a Florida fan who hates the Seminoles, so what do I know? I know a lot more than most of you, but. I don't. Again, I think Clemson was going to win this game by a lot anyway.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter.
I think it's like I said, instead of by 90, they're going to lose by 80. So it's maybe save them 10 points somewhere. But we'll see if he comes out and he looks amazing, and Florida State can upset Clemson on the road if it's in Death Valley. I'm not sure.
I think it is.
Then good for him, and he'll be the starter for the rest of the year. But part of this, to me, I think, is all Florida State saying they're trying to switch out their quarterbacks without being like controversial about it. But again, I'm just a Florida fan, so we'll see. But
interesting.
That's just my take. You can take that how you
want. Total asshole though if he actually is hurt.
No, I do. No, and I hope he's not hurt. And if he is, I do apologize. But I didn't watch the game. I have no clue. If he's never going to see this, and if he does, he can DM me, but he won't. No, I don't. I mean, it's just I don't really think anything changes with the Seminoles. I think Clemson still wins by double digits anyway, no matter who the starting quarterback is.
Oh, of course.
But
Well,
again, I'm done talking about Florida State. But before I
yeah.
get myself canceled for saying that, but I gave you my take. You can take that how you will.
1-4, and we are still wasting our time talking about these bums.
Yeah,
On to speaking. Okay, I can't even beat me. I was about to say, speaking of more relevant schools for our jersey of the week, but then I realized, well, wait a minute, they have just as many wins as Florida State. So I don't know if I could necessarily call them irrelevant, although they did get absolutely bodied by Texas a couple weeks ago. Jersey of the week this week is UTEP. Now, Oregon, Boise State, both had good ones, but I went with UTEP because not only does the orange jersey with the blue stripe look good, but I love these orange helmets that go with the uniform.
yeah. University of Texas El Paso. I love how they say El Paso on the helmets.
Yep.
That's sick. It is really cool. Honestly, I'm gonna get a lot of hate from Florida fans. I love Tennessee's creamsicle orange, and that's given me kind of like creamsicle orange vibes a little bit. So I do like these a lot. Now, me, Oregon's all yellow kicks these out of the park, no matter what. But UTEP is really cool. I didn't know they were doing this. I only saw Boise State and Oregon, so I didn't really. I was caught off guard when you said UTEP, but I see why you did now. So, oh god, I think I know what jersey you have there.
Did someone say creamsicle?
I love the creamsicle Bucks jersey too. I gotta get one, man. I should get a Baker Mayfield jersey. He beat the
Mike
Eagles.
Allstott, the greatest fullback of all time. Put him in the Hall of Fame, please and thank you.
All right, and here we go. College football podcast talking about the NFL. But
I will be more than happy to do that. Anyways,
anyway, this is a great uniform combination. I'm kind of glad. I don't know how this segment came about. I guess I kind of started it, but it's
yeah,
cool.
you started a couple weeks ago with the Oregon jersey, and we
Well,
just kind of ran with it.
I was just showing you the jersey they had, but it's cool. I'm kind of glad I started this. It's sweet.
It's an extra thing to talk about, and it's also good for these smaller programs like UTP. Like, it's kind of good for them to,
Yeah,
I guess, kind of give them, like, as small as it might be. Like, it sounds crazy to say media exposure, but
yeah.
I mean, like you said, you didn't even know these jerseys came out. So it's
Mm-mm.
like it's good to, I guess, like expose different schools instead of just like showing like Oregon or Boise State. We know they have tremendous jerseys and they're going to be on multiple times probably the rest of
Yeah,
the year. To me, it felt like the Boise State jerseys looked exactly like the Broncos. So I was just like,
yeah.
they're good,
I
but
do.
and then I never cared for the all yellow Oregon. It's too bright for me.
That is my favorite Oregon uniform combination. Every time they bring out the all yellow, that's my favorite one.
I
Yeah.
love the dark green one.
Oh, I hope they bring out the green apple ones too. Uh, this is a great uniform company. Boise State's helmet, though, I think is slick with the. Is it blue with the Broncos
Mhm.
or orange with the Broncos? It's one
That's
of those.
cool.
It says it's pretty sweet. But this is a good jersey. I'm excited to see it. I was waiting for UCF to drop theirs, but I haven't seen it yet. I think they're just going their classic away.
That was the start. UCF. That was the first one
Ah, yeah, it was.
with their moon uniforms, and then we went to Oregon. I
Now,
forget who last week's was, and then this week's been UTEP.
who was last?
Oh,
Was last week's or
it
no?
was last
Yeah,
week's Oregon. Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
so this is the third week we've been doing this.
yeah. Okay.
It's good to backtrack every once in a while. Good to backtrack. But yes, UTEP jersey of the week. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. We think this is pretty cool. The helmet did it for me. The jerseys look decent to begin with, but the helmet's what did it for me.
What do the helmets say? That's not El Paso. Is it? I can't read. It's L something.
El Churro? No.
No, I don't know.
L
Anyway, whatever it is.
Huro.
Huh? Maybe they're the Road Runners, I think. So maybe that. I don't know. I'd have to ask my
Old
friend.
Western slang? I don't know.
Maybe who knows? But yeah, these are sick jerseys. I do. I mean, I'm all for an orange with the blue stripes. So
Moving on to our game predictions. Yeah, well, let's just say we both went 2-3.
Yep. Hey, I went 2-3 3 weeks in a row, baby. I'm still above 500, 16-13. I think you're right there with me too.
Yeah, I think I'm also 16-13. We suck.
Yes, we do.
In case you had any questions about anything, we absolutely blow at making these predictions. But anyways, we're
But
gonna
we
give them
have,
a try as we do every week
yep.
because we are insane.
Hey, we have fun doing them though, so it's all
Yeah.
right.
And we're gonna start off with on paper the best matchup of the week. It's the only one where two top 25 teams are going up against each other. So by default, it's on here. We have undefeated Missouri coming in at number 9 against Texas A&M, who comes in at 25th. Texas A&M, I'm pretty sure they're undefeated ever since they've beaten the Gators. They've pretty much rode that momentum, and I believe are on a 3-game winning streak heading into this week. It is going to be in Texas, and it's definitely going to be a close contest. Missouri's been playing in a lot of tight games. Obviously, not only did Boston College almost come back and beat them in the end, but it took them until overtime to beat Vanderbilt 2 weeks ago. Ugh. Hopefully, they were productive during their bye week. What do you think, Lennon?
Yeah, Missouri definitely has been struggling a little bit, but A&M also hasn't really impressed me that much. Now, I mean, they beat the out of Florida, but they lost to Notre Dame. They only beat Florida by 13, but that was garbage time touchdowns that made that game close. I forgot who they played after us. They played like McNeese State or something. They beat up them, and then they played Arkansas in their rivalry game in AT&T Stadium last week, and that was a great game. The Aggies put it out close. So A&M's been kind of struggling too. This would be a really interesting game, conference game. However, Missouri wins a close one again.
I'm gonna say Missouri also wins a close one. I'll say they win by 6.
Yeah,
Uh,
something like that.
I'll say they close it out with a defensive stop. Uh, Man, it's just ever since Brandon Schneider got drafted this year, it's just I have like no interest in watching Missouri anymore. That was fun, and I think Brady Cook's gonna he's had a strong year, and I think he is an NFL caliber like backup quarterback to begin his career. But
Yeah.
really, outside of Brady Cook, I have like no desire in going out of my way and watching Missouri, if you will. This will be the best game on paper. It's gonna be the best game of the week, so. If you don't really want, I mean, I guess if Texas A&M won, it would be a pretty big upset. And they certainly could because their run game is very good. But yeah, just I don't know. I feel like Texas A&M's just been kind of like coasting along. If I had to like kick one team out of the top 25, it's probably them. So
Gonna be
it's
interesting.
kind of like no disrespect to the Aggies, but I don't really
No, this is a
I don't
this
really
is
know how well they've played because of their competition.
this is a conference game, and conference games are usually pretty close. I mean, we saw Vandy and Missouri go to double. Did they go to two?
I think it went to 2, yes.
Yeah, they went double overtime and won because Vandy missed the field goal. So it'll be an interesting game, but I do believe the Missouri Tigers pull out another one against the Aggies in College Station.
That's what I'm expecting as well. It's going to be an interesting game, though, so keep your eyes peeled. 12 o'clock on ABC. Move. You laugh. Why are you laughing?
Nah, man.
It's
I
because
mean,
Iowa's on the road against number 3 Ohio State.
yeah,
This is a lethal offense versus a lethal defense. Now, obviously, Ohio State's defense is going to smother Iowa's offense. Let's not kid ourselves. But they know Iowa's only loss came to Iowa State when they blew that big lead. But let's not forget that Ohio State has been beating up on a bunch of nobodies. And Iowa's defense is consistently, year in and year out, a top 10 unit in college football every year. So I expect it to be relatively close. I still think you're insane if you don't pick the Buckeyes to win this game, but I think it'll be relatively close. I'll go Buckeyes by 10. I think this is a strong, 27-17 type game.
I'm gonna show you something. A score from these two teams in 2017. Okay, so we're just gonna let's see if I can. That's 55-24 Hawkeyes over the number 6 ranked Buckeyes in 2017. That's not gonna happen this time. Like maybe flip that score around. No, I agree with you that Iowa's defense is gonna, Ohio State has been beating up on nobody. But their offense, man, they need to be able to score, and I don't think their defense can score enough to keep up with the Ohio State offense. So for that reason alone, I'm going to pick the Tree Nuts in this one.
The Tree Nuts.
That's what it is. It's a Buckeye.
I know. That's just the first time I heard you call them the Tree Nuts, so it threw me off guard. That was funny.
Yeah, it's a poisonous tree nut.
Yep.
I think I don't know. Go Ohio State. No, I almost said go. I'm not going to do that again.
Don't. No.
Ohio State beats Iowa.
Moving on to the national championship rematch. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. God damn, this game sucks. 10th ranked Michigan on the road against Washington. You know, it would have been cool if J.J. McCarthy and Michael Penix were both still in college, and Rome Odunze was still there, and Braylon Trice was still there, and everyone in that game besides Donovan Edwards was still here. Yeah, I think Michigan wins this one by 20. What did they win the national championship by? It was 34-13, I believe. Something like that. Expect the same type of result here. I have Michigan winning by at least 2 possessions. It is the national championship rematch, probably the most underwhelming national championship rematch literally of all time. Not a single soul I have talked to about college football this week has mentioned this. This was a game that we circled on our calendars. Michigan's just looked off. They lost to Rutgers. They've just looked very anemic on offense, and they aren't finding a rhythm. Where Michigan, yeah, they got their teeth. They got their face punched by Texas, but that was a wake-up call, and since then they've made the quarterback change. They had a good win against USC, and they've just been riding that momentum after that huge win over Purdue. So give me Michigan by 2 possessions in this one.
Yeah, before I make my pick, I do want to point out, I don't know if you did this on purpose or if it's just on my screen or not, but the way the logos are set up, you got the M for mini and the W for Wumbo. Like Washington's really bigger than Michigan's logo.
Yeah, I was just in a hurry trying to set up this slide in time. But yeah, that's funny.
Did you catch my joke though?
I do, of course. Who doesn't understand a good SpongeBob reference?
Good. Okay. I think mini wins over Wumbo by a lot. No, Michigan. I just watched an episode a couple of days ago. If Washington had Michael Penix, Rome Odunze, and everybody back, and Michigan had everybody back, I think this is a better game. It's Michigan. Sorry, Washington. Sorry.
It's not sorry, Washington. If you can't beat Rutgers, you are not beating Michigan.
Oh, shout out to the Scarlet Knights, 4-0, baby. Rutgers looks really good. They're about to win the Big Ten.
Maybe Rutgers should be ranked in the next couple of weeks. You never know, right?
They keep winning, they might. But yeah, Michigan wins this game pretty handy.
Sure. Moving on to the Battle of Florida. Gators, UCF Knights. If only Drew was with us again this week, you both would be equally taking a dump on the Knights because Y'all hate this program. Now, obviously, as a Gator fan, and I am wearing a Pete Alonso jersey right now, so that's funny. Listen, I got nothing respect for UCF. I mean, once we get past the Blake Bortles and the fact they won the Cito Bowl over Baylor, and once we get past all that, I don't care for this program because of the way they handled the 2018 undefeated season thing, and they ended up beating Auburn in that bowl game. Whatever. But UCF has a soft spot in my soul as a non-Florida college football fan. But the Gators are coming off their bye week, and they are looking very good. Graham Mertz had his best performance of the year with 4 total touchdowns, throwing 3 of them. They beat Mississippi State, and that was something, Lennon, that we both weren't really confident in them doing originally.
I wouldn't say I wasn't confident. I was just like, we're Florida, and if we lose, I wouldn't be surprised. There was no reason we should have lost to Mississippi State. So that win really didn't surprise me. Was expecting to put up at least 40, and we did. This one, I'm about. I listen. 27. I was okay with UCF. I was. They're cool. I live in Orlando, 45 minutes away from UCF. And then 2017 happened. And their fans forgot how to act. And it has been nothing but we run a thing. I cannot stand these guys. I cannot stand them. Now, I don't know how confident I am in Florida winning this game. I'm not. I don't know.
I think if they beat Mississippi State, they're going to win this game.
There is no reason we should lose to the UCF Knights. Just like we shouldn't have lost to them. Just like there was no reason we should lose to Mississippi State, and we didn't. We're 2-2. Florida we need to win this game before we go to Neyland. If we beat UCF, we're 3-2. We're walking into number 4 Tennessee. If they beat Arkansas this week, I'm feeling a lot better about myself going on the road if we're 3-2 instead of 2-3. I will be in attendance after I go to the Morgan Wallen concert tomorrow night. Shout out my boy. But I cannot pick. My head says pick UCF. But I cannot. I only say that because KJ Jefferson came into the swamp with Arkansas last year and got us in overtime. Our UCF's running back, whatever his name is, RJ or Harvey, whatever, he's a bad man, bro. That dude is fast. He's not doing what Boise State's running back is doing, but that boy is a big dude and he is fast. And Florida's run defense is terrible.
Well, yeah, Miami exposed that real quick.
I am not listening. My head's something tells me to pick UCF, but there is no way on God's green earth am I picking those losers in Central Florida. I am picking the Gators, baby. We're just don't let me down, guys, please. I'm not hyping Florida up. Okay, I'm not hyping us up. We're not good.
Clearly aren't. You clearly aren't.
I want to make it because every time I hype them up, we lose. So I'm going to pick them, but I'm not hyping us up. I'm expecting us to lose. I'll be in attendance. I'll be screaming loud. 7:45 p.m. kickoff time, by the way. Such a random kickoff time, but 7:45 kickoff time. We're going to win this game. We're going to be 3-2, and we're going to somehow go into Neyland next week, and we'll get into that next week. But
they are gonna be rotating quarterbacks again. Why, I have no idea, because Lagway's looked good and Mertz finally looked very competent against a team that wasn't ranked in the top 5. So hey, I think Mertz should start this game, and they're gonna pull him, but that's stupid. They should just keep him in there unless he's royally screwing up. I do expect the Gators to win this game by I'll go 10. I'll go 10. I think UCF's going to make it close in the first half. Florida's just the more experienced team, so I expect them to start running away with it in the second half. But, UCF's not a team to sleep on. But again, if they've struggled to beat teams like Colorado and whatnot, I really don't see how they beat the Gators. But, could happen. Could happen.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
It would be, wouldn't I? Last game of the day, last game starting period. I mean, this game's starting at 10:30 on ESPN, but it's going to be a good one. The now, what are they? 8th ranked Miami Hurricanes on the road against 3-1 Cal. Cal looked pretty damn good until last week, but I wouldn't even let that loss really discourage them much. This is still a very good team, and it's feeling like the shoe's dropping. Ole Miss lost. I got a weird feeling that this game is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people are expecting. But I want to hear your input before I give the prediction.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything for the viewers, but if what we talked about off camera before is true, then oh my God. Listen, first of all, Florida and Georgia and South Carolina and Tennessee, we had a really bad hurricane that came through. So I do want to give my thoughts and prayers to everybody out there. In Asheville, North Carolina, East Tennessee, the Western Carolinas, Georgia, the West Coast of Florida, all of them. I think California's. Why do I got it? I hate to make jokes at a time like this, but I kind of have to just because that's how I do it. I think a hurricane's going to hit California too. How this game is going to be close. However, I think Miami got gut checked last week against Virginia Tech. I don't think they're going to get gut checked. Now, California can win this game, and it's going to be close. I don't think they can. I think Cam Ward is obviously Cam Ward is a lot better than whoever the hell Cal has. But Miami, they're not going to get gut checked again. I do. It's going to be competitive until about like the end of the fourth quarter, and I think experience pulls away, and I think the Hurricanes squeak away once again. So, give me the the most overrated city in America. Okay, there, I said it. Go.
Most overrated city in America.
I stand by that.
That's funny.
It's
We're just gonna rip this Band-Aid off. Cal lost to Florida State. I don't even know how that was possible. They were literally on the verge of being ranked. And there's only one reason I could come up with the fact that they only scored 9 points against a garbage Florida State team. They overlooked. They knew they had this game on the schedule. And this defense, for an ACC defense, is pretty damn good. I will not be the brave soul to pick Cal. I wanted to. I'm not going to lie. Originally, I was going to pick Cal, but the fact that, they lost to Florida State and their offense has not looked great in their last couple of games. I trust their defense. Cam Ward has been pretty abysmal the last couple of weeks. He's been very careless with the football. So, I expect Ward to make a couple of turnovers. A couple of mistakes are going to happen. Miami wins by 3. Do not be surprised if this is an overtime game.
all right, so we agree
Which for
again.
us on the East Coast won't end until 2:30 in the morning. Anyways.
Yeah, I know about all that. Yeah, dog. We all agree again. So
I'll agree.
I think we all do, right?
I get my room absolutely bombarded. We are about to wrap this up. Hey, Kyle finally made his long-awaited appearance on Campus Gridiron. That's amazing.
We got to get him on a couple of weeks.
Oh, we'll get him on soon. We'll get Mike back on too. He was on last week with us.
He went like 4-1, right? Didn't he? Only game he got wrong was Washington State, I think, right?
Oh,
Didn't
yeah.
he go 4-1?
Talk about Tim Tebow's legacy.
Kyle wants to talk about Tim Tebow's legacy. Well, we'll make a whole Tebow dedication video for that. I don't know. I got some editing to do. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is season 2, episode 7 of Campus Gridiron. We are about to wrap things up here. Lennon, you want to ask me a stupid baseball question, so go ahead.
Hey, bro, Mets or Brewers? Who you got? Who's gonna win today?
Brewers.
Really?
Brewers.
All right. I'm a Yankees fan.
Obviously, LGM, but no. I mean, come on. After last night, you're going to pick the Mets? I'm not. Bullpen blew that game. I expect the same thing to happen. We take the lead early, blow it in the end. It'll be a great game. Shout out to the Brewers. I don't know. Winner, I think, plays the Phillies in the NLDS. So even if they win tonight, it's not looking good because I think the NL runs through Philadelphia. But we shall see. Hope you guys enjoy. And by the way, I want to just quickly point stuff for the channel. If the Mets do make it to the NLCS onward, maybe I'll be posting some sort of content for that.
And if we get it,
we'll get to that when we get to that. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Did hit that like button. I am Grant Flood along with Lennon Lay saying enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy week 6 of college football.